Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the True Growth Through Growth podcast. And this is Latina, and we're in another episode of the Moms Overcoming Mountains series. And I have with me lovely Lori. And I'm gonna let Lori introduce herself and tell us who she is and what she does before we get into the real juicy questions of this interview. Hi, Lori.
Hi, thank you so much for inviting me to be on your podcast. It really is such an honor. I'm Lori Borde. Well, my married name is Lori Blake Carrington, but all my branding has always been Lori Borde. I've been a family photographer for 12 years, and I recently transitioned over to be doing social media management full time,
Wow.
which has been a great and difficult transition, as all transitions tend to be. I'm also a mom. I have my daughter, she's 3, she'll be 4 soon. And I believe the reason that you invited me to be on this podcast to talk about being a mom overcoming mountains is, as moms, we go through a lot, and I'm excited to chat about it.
Yes. So I was telling Laura before we came on, I was like, I'm scrolling through TikTok and I'm like, wait, this year I need to have Lori, or because Lori is there, and I think you were working out with your daughters, either working out or dancing, and I know 3 going on 4, like they are the cutest at that point, and also a lot, right? A lot. Right? So Lori, one of my questions that I love to ask in this series is, please share with us a time that you were actually having a challenge, like it felt like the hardest part in terms of being a mom so far, and how did you overcome that?
Absolutely. I would have to say that the first year of her life, I don't have memories of it. It's all a complete blur. I was very deep in postpartum depression. I didn't even realize it. It's something that I was so aware of going in because I've suffered with mental health issues my entire adult life. But there was something about it. I was like, no, I'm fine. Yes, this is hard, but everyone has a hard time, and it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's only until she was about 18 months that I eventually got into therapy.
Right.
And that in itself was what pulled me out of it. First of all, the acknowledging that this is terrible, not terrible. This is hard.
Yeah.
Having a baby, and it was in the pandemic, and it was, I was very alone, but very much, and I hate to say this, but very much by choice. I was very much, I can do this. I don't need help. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. And having to acknowledge that I did need help was both hard, but incredibly liberating.
Yeah.
And that's something that I go through with my daughter with all the time now. Every night we say prayers and then we say affirmations. And a part of that is it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to make mistakes. Things that I wish I believed, because I knew it was a thing. I just never believed it. I was always like, I'm good. I'm a strong woman,
Wow. Which you are. But Lori, so what was the trigger? Like, what made you realize, oh my goodness, I need to go therapy?
I knew this couldn't be what life was supposed to be.
Becoming
I
a
knew
mommy.
that, yeah, no. And I don't get me wrong, she was by all accounts relatively an easy baby, they say that. She did everything she needed to. She was good, like by all accounts of what a good baby should be.
Right.
I don't know, it became too hard. I was crying far too much to the point where I was now becoming numb. And I just knew I couldn't. I just did not want to live my life like that. And I didn't want to live my life like that. I didn't want her to live that life.
Right.
With a mom who was screaming all the time, because I really was like, I was lashing out a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could hear her, but she's...
Yes. Hi. What's her name? Tell us her name.
Holly. She has on headphones, so she can't hear us.
Okay.
But every now and again you may hear her sing.
Okay, that's awesome. I think that adds the spice to this episode here. Like, that's exactly what we need, right?
Yeah.
All right. So Holly, if your mommy shows you this episode afterwards, we're telling you hello from True Growth. Hi, Holly.
She's gonna love it.
Right. And I'm so glad that you share that, especially about postpartum, right? Because I think in the Caribbean, particularly, postpartum is not something that they talk about often, right? Like, what is that? You know,
Yeah.
you have a baby, and I think, I mean, I'm not coming for men here, but I've heard enough stories about when women share after they have their babies and they're speaking with their partners, their husbands, their spouses, even their family members, you know, like their parents, their moms, they're like, what, like, relax. Like,
You're
this is,
fine.
yeah,
We'll
like,
take a
get over it. Correct, right? And I also but I had mild postpartum, and I did not realize um something was off until probably about 6 months in. I think I was like, I don't feel because remember, the fairy tale is that when we have these babies, they're gonna come out and we're gonna be like so miraculously in love, right? And just
And the house would magically clean itself.
right, yeah,
Yeah.
we're going to be just bond with them. It's going to
Oh,
feel beautiful, and you would want to die for them, and you know, all the things, right? And I was like, that is not happening. What
no.
is, I'm like just like a robot, like very autopilot. You know, I felt I could relate with the no feelings thing was starting to feel like it was trying to become a thing, right? And yeah, I had to seek help too. Like, thank God for therapy, right?
Yes,
And coaches
absolutely.
and mental health support, right? And I did reach out to somebody, and because my pregnancy was definitely, it was traumatic, right? That's a whole other story. So my postpartum was a real thing, right? So I'm so glad that you shared that. So guys who are listening, for those of you who are new mommies, this is real. This is real, and this is a part of the experience, and you are not alone. Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that with us. Was there a specific thing that you did? So yes, you said therapy, but what about therapy helped the most?
I think it was the first time that I had ever truly felt heard in what I was saying. I can't speak to why I feel this way in my life, but I can say that whenever I would open up to people, I would feel judged and, you know, like scrutinized. Every little thing was scrutinized. And for the first time, I opened up to someone and she just listened. And
Yeah.
I just never experienced that before. And it was
Yeah.
beautiful. And because of that, because she is fantastic at her job, I felt more and more comfortable to open up and more comfortable to say things that were hard to even say out loud, you know, but
Yeah.
she was there to hold that space for me to be able to process what I was feeling, process all the things that happened in my childhood that I thought were just, it happened and I'm fine, but never dealt with it. And you know, it is something in our culture as well, that especially when it comes to children, like, I'll give you something to cry about, and you know, that's a very typical thing to say. And you know, you tend to dismiss children's feelings when they're having these huge feelings, and to them it's this whole world that's crumbling around them, and to you, even as an adult, you're like, okay, you didn't get the doll,
Yeah.
you'll be fine, you know what I mean?
Correct.
And well, that's where I think it all stems from, is that dismissive attitude, and you as a child not learning to properly process what you're experiencing.
Facts. Yeah, I agree, right? And so I would then ask, how has that impacted your motherhood? How has that impacted your parenting?
I 100% try to practice, is what I should say,
I
because
love that word.
100% gentle or respectful parenting. I acknowledge that my child is a human being, and not because she is a child or she is young or any of that, that her feelings don't matter, that her opinions don't matter. You know, I empower her to be able to say no,
Yeah.
because I grew up never being able to say that word. No, nothing.
Boundaries,
You know?
Caribbean boundaries. What is that?
What do you mean? Yeah, right. You know, I really try to empower her to be her own person, to have her own feelings, to just hold on a second. Yes, there we
Hi, Holly.
There we go. Holly, come. She's gonna come up anyway.
Yeah.
Right. Just gonna say hi. Hi.
Hi, Holly.
Okay. You can no sitting down. You can go back. You can go back. Yeah. I am ready. I'm very thirsty. There you go. Mom life. Yes, no, I try really hard to respect her as a human being, not treat her like lesser than in any way, or like her feelings or thoughts or anything are lesser than because she's young. So that later on in life she will comfortably say no to someone, and she'll comfortably hold her boundaries with people.
Yeah,
that's
I agree. I agree, right? And I mean, doing this type of work here, like being in the mental health space myself, like we see, like I see, and I have lived the experiences of, not setting those boundaries, having emotions invalidated, not feeling as though you could ask for support, feeling as though you have to do everything by yourself, and all the list of things that we have experienced. And so we grow up in this very, I can do it, don't worry, not asking for help type of situation. Then we're not setting boundaries, so we have to deal with the consequences of that too. Yeah, so I feel you. My daughter is almost 9. She's almost 9. And as you said, I try to do the gentle parenting the best that I could, but I don't know, Lori, this generation of children.
Well, we also grew up a very specific way.
We did.
Right? And we were raised by people who were brought up a very specific way. So because now this is my therapist talking, but because we have this very specific neural pathways already established in our brain.
Correct.
It's very easy when we ourselves are triggered, when we are, and I don't like to say the word triggered because it's such a like a, one of those words that you throw around.
Yeah.
But when we are at the height of our emotions and we can't regulate ourselves, it's so easy to be like, girl.
Correct, right? Because of all the conditioning. Yeah. All of the conditioning. So we actually have to really be intentional about unlearning all the things that we've been taught all the way up until this point, right? So, Laura, I need to say, though, that I'm super proud of you, because to go through that and to navigate, postpartum in that capacity, and then reaching to the point where like, I need help, like I'm proud of you. And then to decide to be a gentle parenting mommy, right? Which is work in itself. Like, I commend you, right? I really do. I see you.
And same to you, because it's hard to do it, and it's hard to do it when you live in the same society that does not value that.
Yeah.
One thing, gentle parenting is passive parenting, and it's not even close to the same thing.
It's not. It certainly is not. It really requires us as parents to commit to doing the inner work, for us to learn how to regulate our emotions, for us to be pretty self-aware, and that in itself is a lot of work. So
isn't that funny that what we are doing is so intentional? It's actively making choices all day, every day, when passive parenting really is, I'm gonna hit you because I have no better way to parent you.
Correct.
I have no better way to discipline you.
That is such an interesting, you know what, I'm so glad that you brought that to the forefront, right? Really, guys, listen to that, right? So passive parenting is not the same as gentle and conscious parenting. It is not the same, right? It's actually two different things. Okay, so Lori, that brings me into you being a mommy, and you're a wife as well. Yes, because you told me. Yes. How do you juggle that and your business, where you are you work from home? Or you're out of the house?
Both. Well, I work for myself, so I'm mostly home right here. This is my computer, right?
Yeah.
But because I do social media management and content creation, it takes me out a lot to create the content for all of my clients. Right. Which in itself it's a lot of fun. In that it's not, I personally could not be at the same place 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. I don't know. There's a part of me that wants to like break out of a cage thinking that. I love that every day is different, and every day brings a new challenge and a new something fun, right? And it was similar to when I was a full-time family photographer. A lot of the time I was here at my computer editing, but a lot of the time I was out shooting or out meeting new clients, stuff like that.
But how do you manage that? Because I mean, being an entrepreneur, having your own, like you have to show up to make the money, right? Like you have to do it. How do you do that and be a mommy to a beautiful Holly and then be a wife? Like how is your support? How does that work? Tell us.
Truly, very recently in November, I started working with a coach who her whole I can't say she's a life coach or any specific coach, but her whole branding is mindful movement. And she teaches you how to prioritize anything that you need to prioritize in your life, whatever the case may be, something towards making healthier choices. So she, working with her for the past, it's been 6 months, today's the end of April. She messaged her, you know, a little happy half so she has guided me. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm still making huge mistakes all day long, all the time. But I'm better now at time management. You know, so even today I had to go and I picked up, you know, those 5-gallon bottles of water. After my first shoot, had them in my trunk, and then I came home, and then I just left to go to my second shoot, and completely forgot that they even existed. You know? Little things like that I just miss all the time, you know. But I guess it's about giving myself the grace to make mistakes, which I was not allowed to do growing up. And I make my parents sound like they're terrible. My parents are actually incredibly supportive, wonderful people.
I believe you.
But it's our society,
of
you
course.
know, that you can't make mistakes and you have to be just perfect all the time. I feel like now in my 30s, I'm relearning how to be a functional human being that does not beat myself up for days because I forgot to take the water out of the car. You know?
So you would say that time management is what helps you be an awesome wife and an awesome mommy and an awesome entrepreneur.
Attempting time.
Trying. Do you have any pro tips in your attempts? What did you notice worked in terms of your time management?
I write everything down that I know I need to remember, because I also have ADHD. I am incredibly forgetful because my mind is always on to the next thing. If I don't write it down, it does not exist in my mind. That, and every Sunday, what I try to do is plan my week ahead as best as I can. So I know with the social media management, I know some clients I have to post every single day. Some clients are every other day, and I have them laid out so that I guess I'm a very visual person. That helps me. I know, okay, I need to fit in, because I'm still doing shoots from time to time. I have to edit this person on Tuesday because I have a little bit more leeway on that day, or I have an appointment, and I think as long as I can see it, I can figure it out.
Okay, awesome. So guys, what Lori is telling us is that we need to manage our time, right? Because wife, mommy to 3-year-old, entrepreneur who is mobile, right? So this is not just a sit one place and you have multiple people that you have to deal with. Guys, write it down. Please write it down. I know I've said this a lot before, but Lori is also telling you all that. Or use your phone, right? Okay, so we're gonna dive into something very fun just to break, you know, the extraness a little. So if you had to choose, pasta or pizza?
Pasta. It's more
sunrise or sunset?
Sunset. Who's waking up for sunrise? Can we meet?
If you had to go out at night with the girls or home with hubby, buy a beach house or buy a beach house?
Oh my God, home with hubby in my own house. At any of the locations. Bless my friends, they're lovely, but I am very much a homebody.
Okay, introverted or extroverted?
In between, I tend to have more introverted tendencies, but I think I'm good for myself in terms of like interacting with people if I need to, when I need to.
Yeah, same. I could feel that. And Lori, if you had to choose between stages of, so I know Holly is only 3. She's 3 going on 4, right? Which stage do you prefer now, or you prefer when she was a baby?
Right now.
No.
Right now. Yeah. Now she's fun and she's funny.
Yeah.
We laugh all day long, you know.
Really?
Hilarious things, you know, that crack me up the whole time. And she you know, her little personality is coming out now, and now she can speak and tell me what she wants and what, you know, I feel Holly also, I guess, because I can't take full credit for it, because, you know, some children, you know, sometimes you have that first child who's like really easy and tricks you into thinking you're that great parent. You have a second child and they rebel. I've not experienced that because I only have the one. So I don't know if she's just easy, but she's also like, at this point, 3 going on 4, I can explain to her why we're doing something. If she doesn't know what it is, like, we have to leave the park. Mommy, why? I can, you know, whatever. I can sit her down and explain to her. And, you know, she's still upset, but she's more understanding, you know, as opposed to when she was 1, there's no understanding, there's nothing going on there, you know.
I know. I love that, right? I think I missed that age of my daughter too. Well, actually, when she was a little bit younger. And I think it's because I was not present. I was not very, like, my head was everywhere else, right? I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, I want to go back to that baby 2-year, like baby to 2, because my head was somewhere else, you know? But I'm learning to enjoy where she is and where we are right now as well, right? So, Laurie, if you had to give any advice to any mummies, right, who probably want to get into entrepreneurship, or they even having a hard time, and they have this thought, they have this belief that they can't, as in they can't be a mummy and do the business thing, or be a powerful career corporate woman, what would you say?
I would say, don't try to do it on your own. You cannot do everything on your own, and the sooner that you're able to accept that, and get the help where you can. Now, I guess that is easier said than done, because some people possibly don't have access to whatever help it is that they need. But if you're able to get it. So, like with Holly, before she started in school, I was going crazy, because I was at home and she was right here with me. The same way she tried to sit on my lap just now to be a part of this conversation. This is right here. This is right where she was while I'm trying to edit, you know. And as soon as she was able to get off into school, and my brain can stop thinking about her for a second, as bad as that sounds, but I knew she was safe where she was, and doing something productive, I guess. That good. She's somewhere. I know that for the next 4 to 5 hours, I can do this. I can get to the gym, because that's the only time that I can be physical. I think it's super important for me, that was help. Her with someone else. And being able to prioritize that. I know within those 4 to 5 hours, that's when I have to be my most productive. I cannot, even though I do, I cannot just say, all right, well, I'll do this person's work later because I want to go and have like a breakfast date. You know? Nothing more. But, you know, sometimes you just have to lay your cards out. And I think adding on to the getting the help part, it's accepting that you as a whole person require more than just any one thing. So people like me, I prioritize work a lot. So every chance I got, that's what I was doing. And it's just no way to live. So same thing with Tash, the person who, my coach, she was, from very early, she was like, you need to get time in with friends, quality time that you're spending. You're not actively working, or you're not actively doing anything too strenuous, you know, you're just having a good, and scheduling that into my days has been a huge help too. Like a lot of my friends, most of my friends don't have kids yet. So a lot of my new friends now are Holly's friends' mums. We're all in the same boat. So very often, if on an afternoon I feel like I'm going crazy after school and she's bouncing off the walls, I can, more often than not, I can call any one of them and be like, listen, we get these kids together so they could bring their own energy. 9 times out of 10, they're like, yes. Right now, that I get the time. Holly gets time to play with her friends. You know, I guess it's about making it work for you. What you can handle.
You know, it's like being resourceful, doing the best you can with what you have at the point in time. Yes. Yeah.
Yes, making whatever it is work for you.
I
So
love
like
that.
I think it was difficult for me was getting the movement in,
Mhm.
working out.
Yeah.
Um, and now I can make it work that when Holly's in school. But there are some days where, children get sick once a month.
Right.
Um, she, sometimes she's just right there with me doing a YouTube workout outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, as Tash would have said, it's just about getting in those like non-negotiables, things that you hold yourself accountable to do and have, whether it be every day or however often you choose.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I could go on and on.
I know, but Laurie, I need to. So I was about to wrap up, but because you brought it up, we're going to finish this conversation with this, right? So I work out, right? Fitness is a part of my life. But what had me jump on your video was you moving your body, right? And I know for some people, like that's a part of their life. But I was also at a stage where I was like, I was struggling. I was struggling for years to get the consistency and the discipline to move to get to the gym. Right? Just share with us because your words are going to be so potent for somebody who feels as though they just I keep starting and falling off and I don't know how to get there. What did you do? What was the mindset shift?
For me, it was I know how I feel when I'm getting regular exercise as opposed to when I'm not.
Yes.
I know that when I'm getting in that little boost of dopamine, that I
Mm-hmm.
am a different person. I am pleasant. I handle things that pop up better. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
snapping 24/7. When I'm not exercising, monster.
Right.
So that in itself, I knew it was something I had to do.
Yeah.
But like you said, I just could not mobilize. I could not get myself to do the things. Whether it be one, because I'm tired at the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
because like you said, it's the job, it's the kid, it's the husband, it's the
Mm-hmm.
responsibilities, etc. But I found things that I enjoy. So
Mm,
because I enjoy them, I look forward to it.
right.
So I'm in the gym now, which I know in itself, there's a lot of anxiety about getting into the gym
Mm-hmm.
when you don't feel comfortable in your own body.
Right.
That's hard. And I acknowledge that that is a very hard thing. I started back in the gym in September
Mm-hmm.
and I would go in, and I don't know if you know Fitness Center in Starlight. I can't speak for the other ones, but as soon as
Right.
you walk in, that's where the cardio machines are. I would
Mm,
go in, get on the first treadmill that was available, walk for 30 minutes, and leave because it was petrifying to get any further than that.
wow.
It was hard. So for me, yes, it was about the exercise, but it was also about building the habits and kind of every day just taking a little step further,
Yeah.
talking to a small person, looking at people in their eyes, things like that.
Right.
Um, so there's that. And now I'm in the
You
gym
all
all the
over.
time.
Yeah.
Well, all the time, but
Often.
they've got to see me. But other than that, it's the yoga, aerial yoga, which is so much fun because you're upside down
Really?
in a seat. Yeah,
I need to try
try
that.
it.
I need
Yes,
to.
it's a good way, I think, because all us women have our guard up a lot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's a good practice in letting go control because you are
Mm,
surrendering to this sling to
right.
hope that it's going to hold you up upside down.
Wow.
It's fun. Once you do it, you're like, oh, really? You know?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's Zumba also that I'm doing. There's also one thing I saw on TikTok recently with these people in like bungee something, and they're just like bouncing around. It looked like so much fun. I messaged
Really?
them.
In Trinidad?
Unfortunately, in Trinidad,
Oh,
that's what
wow.
I said. Unfortunately, currently, I am above their weight limit, but I'll get there when I get there, and
Of
it'll be
course.
fun at the point, you know?
Of course. Wow.
Yeah.
I am so happy to hear that. And just to touch on the aerial, is it what do you call it? Aerial.
Aerial
What
yoga.
aerial yoga, right? So that from what you said, it sounds like if that also helps release stored trauma in the body. Does it? Well, look at
Oh,
that.
the last time I did it, the last 15 minutes of the class, I could not move. I sat
Wow.
there sobbing, just crying. And it also was like, what are you doing?
Oh
Like,
my
it's
goodness.
not about something when you're crying, you're thinking about that thing and more than likely overthinking it.
Right.
There was nothing going on, nothing. It
Mm-hmm.
was just These emotions I clearly had to get out.
Yeah.
And what I would say is that since then, since I started doing the yoga, weight has been dropping off. Letting out that trapped.
Energy.
I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know the science behind any of it.
Well, I will tell you.
You know,
I will tell you
but
very quickly. Our body keeps the score and our body stores our trauma, right? So, of course, when we do things like, so I facilitate breathwork. So when we do breathwork or we do yoga, we do those aerial yoga where we actually get out of our head and drop into our body. It releases all of the things that were actually really stuck inside of our body, which definitely is related to our cortisol levels, which are usually high, which usually affects our weights and our ability to lose weight and for our body to gain muscle and for it to do all of those things. So you kudos to you. And now so this is my invitation to, I'm telling you, come to a breathwork session as well, right? Because there's a lot of breathing happening, a lot of releasing of energy in there. And I'm going to join a aerial class. Like I need to do aerial yoga.
Yes. Oh, fun. I will send you the schedule.
Yeah. You need to tell your aerial teacher, hey, I just plugged you in a very big way.
Give me a little extra class.
Oh my God, Laurie, I really enjoyed chatting with you.
Yeah,
I
same
feel
here.
as though I've spoken to you already. I feel like this was a phone conversation. Like, hey, Laurie, how you going? You're good?
Yeah.
Laurie, before we go, do you have any questions for me? Do you have anything to share? Tell us about, I know you wrote books. You have books.
Yes, I did. I wrote books, children's books, wrote and illustrated them.
Wow.
I don't have any in front of me.
Okay.
All of them are for Holly, my daughter.
Yeah.
Each one having to do with affirmations and being okay with who you are as a person, even if that person is weird.
Right.
Be you and how in being you, you know, and how
Right.
to deal with big emotions, stuff like that. I remember because I had to switch therapists because the older one she stopped being a therapist.
Mhm.
When I was explaining it to the next one, he was like, it kind of sounds like it's not so much for Holly. And I was like, what? Right, like square up. And he's like, it sounds like it's for you. And at that point,
Inner child work.
like, you know,
Yeah.
like
It was
100%.
Mhm.
And then aside from that, I actually wrote in a local book. I wrote a chapter in a local book called Virego,
Really?
Warrior. And it's, I'm going to get the number wrong. I want to say it's maybe 16 different women of influence in the country. Each wrote a chapter about overcoming something in their life.
Really?
It's a fantastic book to read. I would say like each person's chapter is very heartwarming, very encouraging, very empowering.
Yeah.
Nestra has a chapter in it. Nikki
Really?
Crosby has a chapter. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So where do we get these? Where do we get your children books? Are they for sale?
No. It used to be, I just not since the world opened back from COVID, and I jumped right back into my photography. I've just not been able to focus on that.
Yeah.
So I don't think that there are any in circulation right now.
Right.
At some point I do plan to get back on that because you know, the work is already done. It's literally just to get them printed and sell. So it'll be a nice little way to make money.
Of course.
But in its time.
In its time.
Yes, Virego is available at, oh gosh, church bookstore that starts with CH.
Charms? No.
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
really?
Exactly. Yes. Oh, thank God.
Oh, wow. I did not guess that. I would have guessed that. Oh, wow. Laurie, as I said, it was an absolute pleasure having you here. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being so vulnerable and so authentic in our conversation. I know that people of the True Growth family would really appreciate all that you had to say. And I hope to have you another time.
Gosh, me too. And I want to say thank you so much. And this series is going to be huge. Like it's going to do really, really, it's going to put a lot of good out into the world. And that's incredible.
And I'm glad that you get to be a part of it too. So thank you so much. So guys, this wraps up the end of this episode of Moms Overcoming Mountains with Laurie. And we would see you in another one. Bye-bye.
Bye. That would likely be